Hey guys, I decided to just kind of pick up and start episode 1 of the actual gameplay in this world as soon as I ended the world tour. So, for you, some time has passed, but for me, pretty much none has passed. I just went inside and figured out that you can in fact make maps in this version, which is really cool, and that's going to be a thing we definitely mess around with at some point. However, um, for right now, let's get some stuff done, I think. I don't have a super specific plan because I'm just going off the seat of my pants here. But while I harvest my farm, I did want to talk to you guys about the basic format of these videos that I'm going to be kind of shooting for. Like I mentioned in the World Tour video, and as I will reiterate here, this series is inspired pretty heavily by what Mongster is doing in his relaxing alpha gameplay world, where he just sort of hangs out and chats with you guys and also me about whatever. Tea. It's a lot of tea with that guy. But while he chats about that, he just plays Alpha Minecraft and occasionally explains a little bit of how Alpha Minecraft works, some of its quirks compared to other versions, stuff like that. And I was really into that. I mean, I still am, but I've watched every episode of it now, so now I just live in sadness because I don't have more Mongster to enjoy. But it got me thinking, there's not really an equivalent thing for Better Than Adventure, and while there are a few videos of Better Than Adventure out there, a lot of them are in the format of the, not necessarily 100 days, but they're in that sort of challenge video kind of headspace, and that's not really what I'm about. That's not really the kind of content I love to make. So, what I want to provide... hey. What I want to provide here is something more akin to an old school style Let's Play, but edited down a bit. And designed specifically for playlists. Ooh, look at the little leaf pile. So, I'm going to try to get out of the mindset of modern YouTubing with, a very specific intro and outro that I say every time. I'm going to try and go for more of something like, I just start and end the video wherever, so that if you guys are watching it as part of a big playlist, there's no jarring interruptions in between each video. It smoothly transitions between them. Now, this is going to take some practice because I do have another channel that I run with my friend. And in that one... Hey, give me that. And in that one, each video is standalone. They're not designed for playlists and stuff, so I'm used to saying specific things at the beginning and ending of each video. And it'll take me a little bit of practice, I think, to get over that. Hopefully I cut out most of my mistakes rather than forcing you guys to live with them, but we'll see. Either way, that is the basic idea that I've had, right? Which is... Oh, I was too slow on that one. Which, like I said, it's the core of the whole series. Show you guys Better Than Adventure in a relaxing, laid-back, old-school kind of way, while giving you a little bit of the polish of some of the more modern stuff as well. I think, yeah, there's the wool. I didn't have any brown wool, apparently. Let's start by looking at our gear. Our armor is pretty well off. What time is it? Where's the sun? That's a foggy day. I can't see the sun, but I think the sun's kind of like there. Oh wait, no. I can see the sun today. It's just behind that cloud. Yeah, so it's almost night. So after we sleep, we'll take a boat and want to head that way. I've gone that way a little bit. I think there's a big ice sheet over there. But I want to explore a little bit more. And you know what? Just in case we find something cool, let's put together a bed so that we are ready to set our spawn once we get over there. Beds in this version require cloth, which drops from zombies. This is a pretty cool mechanic because it essentially forces you to play the first night raw without a bed. Beds are pretty powerful. If you're lucky, or if you are unlucky, I guess, and you find and kill a zombie before the first day is over, then you might be able to get a bed. But that's a decent reward for fighting a zombie so early in the game, I think. I think one thing I need to do is at some point plant some more wheat down here among the flowers, or get rid of the wheat entirely and plant flowers there instead. Alright. So this thing is awesome. This is a basket. They're pretty easy to craft. And these things, the way they work is kind of odd. You can't interact with them. If I right-click them, it pulls out whatever is in the box. Oh, I need to hit tab again. There we go. But if I throw something at the top of it, it will go in. And I think it goes in sometimes from like the upper side, but yeah, the top is the only consistent way of doing it. Let's see real fast. This allows you to hold like many stacks of something. Generally, I use it for cobblestone down in the mines. Hello, dog. I love you. But right now, what's in there is mostly a bunch of cherries. I guess you guys saw at the end of the world tour if you watched that. We can shift right click to pick it up and carry it. You can carry it in third person if you prefer. If it's hard for you to see around the basket, I can kind of get that, especially in the boat. I often drive in third person. But we're going to take this with us. I think there's a bed in here, but we made an extra one just in case. So let's head over this way. Hello, squid. So there's some ice. We can go into photo mode here. We can see this ice sheet. This is new. Alright, I don't think this existed when I first kind of came through here. This ice sheet over here is kind of where we're headed, because I've been there at one point. So yeah, I don't know if it just didn't melt, or if this is a biome where it just won't melt after a while. Not sure. Either way, we're going to go as far as this boat can take us. And then I think we'll walk from here. Set that down. I want to put this up just a tiny bit higher. I don't think that will melt the ice from up there. I guess we'll see. Hip. But yeah, we'll leave that there, and we'll head on out. We're just going to kind of go in a relatively straight line along this ice. Look at how cool that is. I didn't mention this in the World Tour video, and now I'm thinking I definitely should have. This is an amplified world, which seems to work pretty similar to how it does even in modern Minecraft, where it just makes the world super tall. The world height in this mod pack is higher than in beta anyway, so you get some really just incredible looking vistas, and just, like, look at that. Everywhere you look, it's like, damn, I could build an awesome base there. It almost feels like I should explore more before I decide where to settle, you know? I haven't found a ton of new biomes yet, which is part of the reason we're out here exploring. However, any resources we can get, we're going to take, of course. We'll keep putting them in our basket. We're just, we're foraging, functionally. Foraging is something that I've been trying to do a lot more in my real life, partly because I'm very poor, and I figure if nature can provide me with some food, then that would be pretty sick, you know? But also because I think it's a healthy activity, you know? It sort of reconnects you with your human roots, with your ancestors and such like. But also, it connects you with the area you live in, because the animals and plants that live in the area around you you know, let's say in your neighborhood, just as an example, they are very in sync with each other in a way that humans often just aren't anymore. Humans, they can never be fully cut off from the natural world. It's impossible. You're a part of the ecosystem like everything else. But I do have this general feeling that a lot of people, and this includes myself to an extent in the past, they often try to seal themselves away from the natural world as much as possible. Which, obviously, that can't be completely good, right? I mean, I get some of it, obviously. It's good to avoid disease. Don't eat roadkill. Shit like that. But, I don't know. I do think that there is space for people to take up some basic foraging, you know. Just make sure you do a lot of research. You know, we'll just do this. Do it the way I used to. That points home, roughly. So, out in our yard right now, of course, it's spring. I mean, I guess it's almost summer, but it's still spring here, and that means there's a lot of dandelions. I make dandelion tea sometimes. I want to get some dandelion roots, try out making dandelion coffee, because I've heard people make that. I have no context for what that could possibly taste like, but it sounds interesting at least. And we also have a lot of wild onions, which I haven't used a ton yet, but I have used them. They're pretty good. They're very small, so you need a ton of them. And obviously, if you're going to have a bunch of wild onions, you have to clean them. So the whole process of like washing them off and stuff when you get them, it's not super tedious, but it's more tedious than just buying a big onion and cutting it up, you know what I mean? Foraging isn't exactly easy. I mean, it is, but it's time consuming. But I think that's a good thing, actually, as weird as that might sound. Because I think a lot of times we try to shorten everything as much as we can. Like, we just want to get every activity done as quickly as possible, and that's it. And there's nothing else. It's a weird little Herobrine block. Yeah, so we just want to get the activity over with, we want to rush through it, and the only way we really seem to know how to enjoy ourselves, and I want to be clear, I'm talking about myself to an extent. I do think that this is something a lot of people struggle with, but I don't want to make it seem like I don't also do this sort of thing, you know, trying to like take this foraging activity that I'm talking about. Just as an example here, it's the sort of thing that a lot of people would want to get over as quickly as possible so you can get to the part where you eat the food, right? But I think it's better to sit with it sometimes, to sit with your thoughts, and to sit with the activities that you're taking part in a bit more than that. Instead of trying to get it over with as quickly as possible, like, relax, you know, go slow. Get it done a little bit slower than you could do it. There's a time and a place for haste, but there's also a time and a place for rest. And putting aside certain activities to do slowly, to do carefully, almost as a form of, like, meditation, I think we're just going to seal that up. I think that that's a good thing. For me personally, outside of foraging, a great example of that is shaving. I use a straight razor, old school style, to shave my man fuzz. And when doing so, I have some rules, right? One of which is I never rush myself. I usually will put on a podcast or some like very relaxing music, and I will, you know, go through slowly, take my time with it. Not because it's something I necessarily enjoy doing, to be super clear. It's a chore to shave my face, but by putting it aside as a borderline meditation. There's a fire over there. It makes it into a special time. Even if it's work, it's time with myself, with my own thoughts, my feelings, whatever. However the day is going, I guess. And it turns it from just a chore into a chore that is worth doing for me. Again, same with the foraging. And that's part of the reason why I've gone back to this older version of Minecraft, even if it's this modded version. Mongster has talked about this a little bit as well. Everything he talks about is framed in the context of tea, which I think is it's very cool, actually. And he talks about how back in these older versions of Minecraft, you had to work for things a bit more. Like, just having stone tools was kind of a big deal, so you were a lot less likely to treat them, I guess, flippantly, right? In addition, you were a lot more thankful for getting a hold of something like... we'll leave that there. Yeah, you were a lot more thankful for getting something like iron tools. Even if you had iron tools, diamonds felt very special. Diamond tools even more so. And that's the kind of feeling that is not as prevalent in modern Minecraft, though there's still plenty of things you have to work for in modern Minecraft. I guess that's something else I should clarify here before the series goes on. I don't hate modern Minecraft. It's just not exactly my thing. The way I've explained it to people in the past is, modern Minecraft is a game made for somebody else. And it's a good game for that somebody else, but it was not made for me. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But it does diminish my desire to play it. At some point, I still do plan on, maybe putting some modern Minecraft footage on the channel, but I don't really have anything I want to do in the more modern versions at the moment. It doesn't do anything for me the way that these older ones do. This is definitely the version I am most nostalgic for. I started playing, I believe, I'm not 100%, but I believe that when I last tried to figure it out, based off of updates that I remembered, I started playing sometime around 1.6.4? Or maybe it was 1.6 something. And it was the version that was pretty much right before this version, really, just like 1.7 in general. Look at this. Look at this shit. Holy God. That's awesome. Let's see. There's iron there. We should go get that. But I started playing around this time period. So a lot of my playtime that I can remember was in beta 1.7. And I remember when the adventure update came out. I remember specifically in 1.7 I had built some roads around my world. I never got far enough to build like a railway around my builds, but I had built roads, and that was like the thing I liked doing the most in Minecraft, was building this kind of transportation infrastructure. I feel like that should probably crush grass, but whatever. And I remember testing out the sprinting mechanics. Can I even make this jump? On those roads that I had built before sprinting was a thing. Another really pretty area here. Every area we go is pretty. The old world gen, that's one thing I think pretty much everybody is in agreement on. There is something very special about old world gen. Ooh, New biome. Nice. Hip. Ow. Like, just, I mean, I know this is amplified terrain, so it's bigger, but just everywhere you look, pretty much, is something cool. Actually, you know what? While we're up here, I should point out that I am not playing on the maximum render distance. I could crank this up significantly. Let's let this load in. I don't think I could play on 32, but I could play on much higher. But I like to play with it on 12 because 12 gives a good amount of fog on distant items and objects. Man, it's chunking. Probably shouldn't have done this while I was recording. That would probably have helped. My frames really dropped when I did this. Like 200 frames just dropped down to like 50 to 60. Damn. But you can see, you got a beefy enough computer. You can play this like a normal like modern Minecraft kind of thing. But we don't do that in this house. In this house we play on 12. Gives us a good amount of frames first off, and you see, like those islands, they've got just that little bit of fog. The further back, the deeper it gets. So this is this whole mod pack, this whole overhaul is very modular. So, you know what I should do while I'm up here, actually. There we go. Boop. It's very modular. You can really just play it however you want. Anybody in the audience got thalassophobia? Asking for a friend. It's great though. I'm a big fan of this mod so far. I've not ever been in this biome, whatever this is called. Currently we're just in a forest, but I've never seen those like palm trees, so I'm guessing this is kind of a jungle-y or at least jungle adjacent kind of thing. Look at how gigantic these sugarcane are. It still says forest. I guess it is just a forest. I'm collecting the sugarcane even though I have it growing at home because I will need a lot of paper. I might as well grab this clay. After I grab this clay, I'm probably going to call this recording session. I don't know why I'm telling you that, really. That's not information you need to know. That's information for me. But now you know. If you're wondering why I put this cobblestone here, it's because I actually, it's ugly. I'm not going to lie, but I kind of like it in a weird sort of way. I kind of like leaving that mark on the world so that I always sort of know where I've been and like where I've extracted resources from. I don't know. Either way, we will collect some of these trees here in a moment. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm not really going to be doing anything like giving you guys an outro per se, so I'm not entirely sure how to end the video, before it transitions smoothly to the next one. Oh look, cocoa beans grow here. Cocoa trees, I guess. That's cool. This is a very pretty area. Huh. Yeah, I'm not 100% certain how to end the episode, since it's not really an episode, is it? It's supposed to be part of a playlist. Huh. Really backed myself into a creative corner here. How am I supposed to